Jamming with History. Chapter 15. Close Up. Woman's eyes widened in awe when he saw their ride for the day. It was a beautiful, sleek, yellow convertible with tinted windows. I figured you might like a few extra minutes of privacy, so I borrowed Uncle Jay's ride for the day. But if you want, we can take the hood off and the windows down. You're the prince, and I am but your humble servant, Virgil explained casually. The woman saw him steal a quick glance at his face to read his reaction before going back to looking ahead. I would love a little more time away from prying eyes. The woman smiled gratefully. Virgil relaxed. In his normal, thick clothing, it didn't show as much when his shoulders tensed. But the woman had learned to tell, and in this much thinner vest it was very obvious to him. Though a stranger would likely still be fooled unless they were paying attention. You look very beautiful, by the way, the woman added, wanting to say it without his parents dared to muddle his sincerity. Virgil's cheeks flushed slightly. I'm glad you like it, he mumbled. You clean up pretty nicely, too, he added. The woman felt his confidence return full force. His plan to dazzle and woo Virgil firmly back in place. He made a bow and offered his hand. Well, it's a lovely day. We are both blessed with stunning company. How about we go for a ride? He asked with a smile. Virgil chuckled and hooked their arms together. The woman thought he saw him glance at the offered hand for a moment, as if considering to take it. Let's go, Princey. I've got a few surprises planned, he grinned mischievously. Virgil led Roman to the passenger's side and opened the door for him. Melly, he grinned, though he didn't make the gesture any less lovely in Roman's eyes. Virgil closed the door behind him and walked around to sit behind the wheel. Fair warning, I saw a bunch of photographers lying in wait on the other side of the street, Virgil informed him as he started the car and drove up to the front gate. I expected as much. Thanks, though. Anytime, Virgil grinned. Just then the gate opened and Roman could see the paparazzi cameras flash like crazy. It wasn't waste of memory space since they wouldn't see more than the car and dark windows. Soon they moved away from the crowd. Roman wasn't worried about them chasing them. They might follow, it was very likely they would pop up through the day, but they knew not to push their luck with the Fernandez family. Did you like your present this morning? Virgil asked. Woman looked up surprised. Present? He thought his day out was his present. So you haven't checked your Tumblr then, Virgil chuckled. Woman dove for his phone and opened the app. There it was. Hawkins mentioned to you in a post. He clicked on the message and was greeted with a picture and a message. The message was simple and wonderful. Hey everyone, quick shout out to my favorite person on this hell site. Congrats at Princely Charm. You know why. Here's to many more years of this unlikely team up. The image underneath was a rendition of Jim Hawkins and Prince Charming, sitting in a lovely garden under a starlit sky. Little alterations to the original character designs. Jim's jacket was patched up, more subtle than Virgil's favorite hoodie, but enough for Roman to see the reference. And Prince Charming's skin was darker, and instead of a golden cord hanging from shoulder to shoulder, he had a red sash, referencing Roman's favorite color. It's gorgeous, he whispered. It's all right. I like the ones in the passenger door better, Virgil grinned casually, though his hand was a little too tense on the gear shift. The woman looked in the compartment and saw a red wrapped rectangular package. He took it out, trying to contain his excitement a little. He opened the package and found a framed version of the drawing. But in this one, the two characters looked exactly like them. It looked like him and Virgil were sitting in a Disney movie. That's amazing, Woman whispered. There were a few more, Virgil pointed out. Indeed, Woman could feel the sturdy paper behind the frame. He carefully laid the frame on his lap, face down, and picked up the other drawings. All were digital drawings. In one they were fighting off enemies in a ballroom, Virgil wielding a blaster and Woman handling a shield and sword. They stood back to back and seemed unbothered by the life-threatening situation, like they knew they'd make it out all right. Then there was one of them racing one another, solar sailor against white horse. God, he loved the expression of pure elation on their faces, the wind-swept look of their hair, the world speeding by around them. The final drawing had them both in the mast of a ship sailing across the galaxy, looking ahead to adventure. I didn't want to post our real faces online. But I know you said that you always dreamed of being in a Disney movie, so I tried to, get as close as I could, he told him. Woman gently put the drawings in the glove compartment so they'd be safe until he took them home. They are brilliant. Thank you, Woman smiled. He had mentioned that childhood fantasy once in a chat they had online about a year ago. Virgil had remembered. By the ancients, he could kiss him. Woman saw Virgil relax again and give a little smile. Glad you like it, Princey, he said softly. Of course I do. I can't imagine the amount of time this took. And on top of that, it's such a thoughtful gift, he pointed out firmly. Virgil chuckled. No need to oversell it, Princey. I'm not done. He grinned as he parked the car at the start of a carefree zone. It was a small shopping district. Woman had never been shopping, if you'll believe it. When he was in need of new clothes, his measurements were taken, and the next day he'd have a whole bunch of brand new clothes. So just being here was a brand new experience for him. Really? Why, Virgil, if I didn't know any better, I'd say you were trying to impress me, he teased. Virgil smirked at him, but didn't reply otherwise. Oh, Lord, was Virgil trying to impress him? Let's go. Who knows when those will sure get here, he said as he got out of the driver's seat. The woman paused a moment and saw Virgil walking over to the other side. His heart raced as he realized Virgil was going to keep opening doors for him all day. And indeed, his door was opened and Virgil offered him his hand. Woman almost took it without thinking. But then he remembered Virgil consciously not taking his earlier, and took hold of his friend's wrist instead, letting him help him out. Virgil closed the door and took Roman by the arm, leading him onward. They'd taken 2 steps when Roman became aware of a few paparazzi flashing their cameras a little bit back. They looked like they'd been lying in wait. Forget about them. Just look ahead and have fun. I've got you, Virgil said softly. Roman smiled fondly. Apologies. A lovely lad like you should get my undivided attention, he told Virgil, who rolled his eyes but smiled as well. How about you pay attention to the stores and where you want to pop in, Virgil said. Woman hoped a little flustered. He'd never really flirted with someone before, not with the intent of maybe eventually confessing feelings for them. He'd imagined wooing a handsome guy, and he'd been flirting with Virgil in a playful sense. But now he was trying to get Virgil to think of him in a possible romantic sense, and he had no idea if I was being clear about that distinction. Did Virgil think they was just doing their normal thing? Should he maybe be more daring? Woman's thoughts were interrupted when he saw the cutest sweater in one of the display windows and dragged Virgil inside. Not only did he buy the sweater, but he found 2 awesome jackets. One nice red pea coat he could easily wear to formal events, and a silver biker jacket, because he wanted his own jacket that fit properly if he was going to keep getting rides with Virgil, and because he got Virgil checking him out when he wore it. In the next shop, he tried out a pair of skinny jeans, and he decided he definitely had legs for them, and bought them. They started out a fun version of Would You Rather. Would you rather try on these clingy glasses or this goofy hat? Would you rather try out this pink shirt or these plaid pants? Leopard print pants or beige crop top with sequins? These high heels or the camouflage combat boots? And yes, they actually tried out the option they picked. Virgil in heels was not something Roman was prepared for, especially in addition to the skirt. Roman was eyeing the rack with cocktail dresses and wondering what alternative he would need to give to get Virgil to try one. And if he'd survive if he did. When Virgil tapped him on the shoulder. Roman looked back and was astonished. Virgil had somehow snuck away and exchanged his stellar statement of an outfit for a formal ensemble. White shirts, black suit jackets, and matching tie and pants. He'd even found shiny dress shoes to complete the look. All he was missing was a Rolex. Virgil smiled up at him. So, what do you think? He asked. Rowan thought a lot of things, but after a moment he settled on what to say. He glanced around. They were fairly out of sight, and if they weren't, too bad. He stepped closer so they were almost chest to chest. He looked down with a smirk and pulled on Virgil's tie. I think revenge is sweet. I think you indeed look good in everything. And I think I like you better in clothes you are comfortable in, he said softly, before letting go. Virgil looked down, failing to hide his blush. Yeah, okay, I'll go get changed then, he mumbled before rushing off. Maybe Roman was making himself clear? This was definitely not platonic anymore, right? When Virgil returned, he was kind of quiet, thoughtful. Had Roman crossed the line? They walked to an eyewear store, and Roman quickly found a few frames he liked. Virgil was staring out a window while he was busy. Roman thought of asking his opinion on a few frames, but he got the idea that maybe he should give him a little room. Suddenly, as Roman was paying for the frames he picked, Virgil walked out. Confused and worried, Roman hurried after him as soon as he heard the beep of the machine to confirm his purchase. He nearly forgot to take back his card and to pick up his bag from the counter, or the shopping bag with his other purchases, which Virgil had very uncharacteristically left behind. When he got out, he saw Virgil standing with a few people with cameras. Oh no. Roman hurried towards him, not sure who'd need his protection in this situation exactly. Can we help you? One paparazzi asked. Apparently, Virgil had either only just arrived or he'd just been standing there and staring in for a good minute. Oh no, I was just curious if you got any nice shots, Virgil asked pleasantly. The paparazzi looked at one another and then back. Yes, the one who'd spoken earlier said. Good, good. Can I ask, why would anyone pay money for a picture of a guy enjoying his birthday? Virgil continued. Another answered, well, it's more about what he does and who he's with. Me? What's so interesting about me? Virgil pressed. Because shopping is not really a cover-worthy story now, is it? He pointed out. Well, we don't know. We just take the pictures. It's our customers who find the stories. A third admitted. And, well, this can be good for him too. Being seen with you will be good for his image, the first pointed out. Depending on who writes the article, I suppose you are right. Just know that if any picture you take ends up being used to harm Roman, well, Janice Lejeune and Patton Simmons will be joining the army of lawyers sent after you. So take care with who you sell to. I don't think I could stop them if I tried, Virgil said dangerously, before spinning on his heel and walking back towards the shop. That is to say, he took 2 steps before realizing that Roman was standing there and had heard the whole thing. He adjusted his course a little to grab Roman, gently, and lead him away. Roman would have loved to assure Virgil right away, to thank him for trying to protect him a little, but his mind was racing 'cause Virgil was holding his hand.